Hey guys, FunnyGuyTimmy here for a video on a platform I've talked about a good bit. Now, first I want to say thank you for watching. It's been a great year. We've reached 4,000 subscribers. I've already recorded a video talking about this, but I would just want to say that again, and it looks like from projections, definitely going to hit 5,000 probably the middle of next year. So that's good. Maybe hit 6,000 by the end of the year, but no guarantees. So that's good. This platform is definitely on its way up. So I definitely want to say again, thank you guys very, very much for your support, for your questions, for your likes, dislikes, subscriptions, all that kind of stuff. Tons of great things to say there. Another thing, I'd like to remind you guys that we do have a Patreon for this channel for anyone who wants to see long form, unedited videos of behind the scenes or doing voiceover, or would like to have basically free coaching with me, or need help with anything involving voiceover, putting up a space, or what microphones, or getting to choose what mics I review. That's what the Patreon's for. Just got a text or message. Oh, okay. It's totally fine. It's just family. Who cares? Carrying on. Another great news is, so there was a period when I wasn't able to upload a lot of videos, and that was all because of apparently my graphics card was having an issue, was uninstalled, or just had some kind of glitch. And what I did is I uninstalled it and reinstalled it, and it looks like that fixed the problem that I was having with Action, or my webcam. I was having a lot of problems. I would record it in 30 frames a second, but it would record the video at like anywhere between 26 and 32 frames a second, like 26.87 all the way up to like 32.1 frames a second. It was very, very odd. It was always very odd numbers, and the audio was also being recorded at a different frame. I don't know what was going on there, but uninstalling it, reinstalling it, do a whole bunch of system checks and updates and sweeps and all that kind of stuff, fixed it, I hope, supposedly. So that was good. But I did manage to record a bunch of videos before now that looked like they were fine, but when I bring them up in Sony Vegas, they're out of sync again. The only program that they seem to work okay is Adobe Premiere. They seem to be totally synced up in Adobe Premiere. I don't know what that's all about, but when I bring it into Adobe Premiere, it's all pixelated, it's kind of grainy, it's not the highest quality, and it looks like it's a little desaturated, it's kind of dull. Looks almost a little log, but not as good quality as log would be. Or not log, raw or flat, whatever. So I do have a whole bunch of those videos that I will be uploading very, very soon, but due to the fact that it's in Adobe Premiere, I can only use Adobe Premiere, and I'm not the fastest at using Adobe Premiere, that's gonna take a while. So, but now that I have this working, I'm gonna do some videos here, and then kind of sprinkle in Adobe Premiere edited videos periodically. So if you see any videos that kind of look a little lower quality, a little trashier, maybe a little not the smoothest with the frame rate, that's Adobe Premiere. So it's a program that I hate, but I have to use. So anyway, I wanted to talk about, and I know it's taking a while to get to it, I wanted to talk about Casting Call Club. So, as some of you guys know, I've been hosting auditions on Casting Call Club for Mr. and Mrs. Stormtrooper, and all of my animated projects or dubbing projects or video game or cartoon, anything that I'm doing that requires character work or animation or any kind of non-narration voiceover, and I have to host auditions to find more talent, I will be posting those on Casting Call Club. So if anyone is interested in working in any of my projects, that's probably where I'll be going. Every now and then I will still be using Fiverr and still be searching for other talent on Fiverr if I'm looking for something very, very specific. Someone to do this impression or this very specific type of voice, and doing auditions won't really guarantee me that. I'll probably still be doing that, but for the most part, I'm pretty open to interpretations, I'll be doing auditions on Casting Call Club. So, on there. Now, what I wanted to talk about is actually and this is a lot of because I've been hosting auditions. There is a lot of things that people are doing in the auditions that I'm seeing across the entire platform. And it's not just this platform. It's not just Casting Call Club, but it's also Voices.com, Voice123, a lot of open source or open platforms for auditioning. I'll see a lot of the same stuff over and over and over again. But I'm going to be specifically talking about Casting Call Club, even though a lot of these still apply. And a lot of this will have to do with auditioning more than anything. And it's going to be like 5 or 6 things to do or change or to be aware of in order to get more work and to actually improve your auditions. First one out of the gate is going to be your levels. I cannot stress how important the right levels are. There are tons of auditions that I've been sent that I've just immediately disregarded and haven't listened all the way through because they're either too quiet or they are just over the top. They're just peaked. I can't understand what they're saying because it just sounds like a bass. It's just too much. It's too much. It just completely caps off, just decapitates all the detail in the voice. And when it's too quiet, it's the same thing. I can't hear it. I can't hear it. And what'll normally happen with the ones where it's too quiet is later on they'll do some yelling and then it gets too loud. So if I turn up the volume to hear it and then they yell later, well, now it's the same problem as before. So make sure that the levels are all right. Now, a good combination of with making sure that the levels are all right is compression. Now, let me just say this. For most actual projects, when you actually deliver the file to the client, normally, if it's someone who, unless it's someone who's asking you to do all the editing and all the compression, all the EQing, don't do any of that. Just make sure that it's set to -3 dB, which is the volume that it really should, the level that it really should be set to, the finished product. Other than that, don't do any compression, EQing, or anything like that. But for an audition, I strongly suggest doing some compression, maybe not EQing, but just some compression, so that all of the words that you say, all of your performance is clear, is able to be heard, and then set it to -3 dB. So do a little light compression. I'm not going to tell you what the settings should be. Just play with it, tinker with it. Don't overcompress it. You don't want everything from whisper to yelling to be at the same volume, but you want them to get a little closer. The point is the person listening to your audition shouldn't have to adjust the volume at all. They should be able to hear everything that you're saying at a comfortable volume with little difficulty. Maybe if you're speaking to a little too fast, you'll have to go back and play it again, but they shouldn't have to turn the volume up. So make sure that you've compressed it a little bit and then set the entire volume to -3 or -4 dB. I normally set it to -3. I don't really know of any website that has had a problem with -3. But if you ever do, then, and you can see that it's when it compresses your file on the website and uploads your audition, that it's still peaking, you'll have to set it to like -4, -5, barely ever -5, but pretty much -3 dB is a good standard for audio files and auditions, like just regardless. I don't really think there's anyone that won't be able to hear anything, or there's no compression that can happen to it that'll hurt it if it's at -3. So that's pretty much that's the Goldilocks zone of volume or levels. The next thing is, so that's volume or levels, -3, and then light compression so you can hear everything. The next thing would be pauses. There shouldn't be any pauses. There shouldn't be any long breaks. There shouldn't be any extended periods of nothing being said. There's lots of auditions that I don't know if they're good. I don't know if they're good because there was about 4 or 5 seconds of silence of the person. I can hear them clicking on the mouse and I can hear them getting ready. And I didn't finish listening to it. I completely disregarded that. If you really need to get into it right away, basically there should be less than a second before you start talking. Less than a second in the audio file from the point that the person clicks play to the point that you start talking should be less than a second. Normally about half a second. It shouldn't be any longer than that, and don't make it too short. Don't completely get rid of all space between play and start, because there may be a buffering period on the playing device on whatever platform it's on, and it may take a while to ramp up, or it may chop off some of the beginning. You also don't want it to be a sudden jolt, so they hit play, oh, Jesus. You don't want that to happen either. So about half a second to like just under a second is probably, that's the best length of time. And then in between takes, cut out all that noise. Cut out all that, or the mouth noise, or the shuffling, or you resituating. There shouldn't be any of that either. There should be about a second between takes, probably less, probably half a second between takes. And if it's really, really short, if the audition line is really, really short, you don't have to say take 1, take 2, or take 3. You really don't. Now, if it's like a really, really long sentence or a long paragraph, yeah, do take 1, take 2, take 3. Now, if you're emailing this to an agent or you're emailing this to a client, then you're going to want to do all the slating and all the takes. But if you're uploading it to a platform where they can see your profile, they can see your name posted beside it, and they know what the audition line is, you don't have to do all that. Don't waste their time. Their goal is to get in, get out as quick as possible. So pretty much avoid doing take 1, take 2, take 3, or Timothy Banfield auditioning for Ogre, take 1. Cut all that out. Because if it's really, really short and the amount of stuff that you say in the audition that has nothing to do with the line actually takes up more time than the line itself, you're probably wasting a lot of time. But again, if you are emailing this to an agent or emailing this to a client or an agency or something like that, then yes, you'll want to make sure that your name is on the MP3 or WAV file. You might want to make sure that it's slated, that you have your name in there and the role you're auditioning for, as well as in the title. Normally what I do is I'll put the role that I'm auditioning for _ Timothy Banfield in the title of the MP3 or WAV. I try not to put the title of the project normally, because the title of the project is normally pretty long and I don't want the name to be that long and for them to see my name to be all the way over here. Because if they have a folder that they put all their auditions in, I want them to see the roles and then the names just beside them. I don't want the whole bunch of extra stuff. Same thing is for what you're doing. When you're naming your file, to also, and this would be the fourth thing, is to put the role that you're auditioning for, _ and then your name. Now, if it's on Casting Call Club, put your profile name, your avatar name, or whatever. When I'm auditioning on voices.com, voice123, or sending stuff to an agent, I use my real name. But on Casting Call Club, use your profile name, because I don't think it actually says what your real name is. I think it's just your profile name on there. So basically just put your profile name. That way, if they like it, they know who to go find. Just in case if they lose other information or you get all shuffled up in the whole mix. You don't want them to have to listen to your audition and then listen to the auditions on the website. Listen to your MP3 and then listen to the audition on the website to make sure they find the right person. Put your name on there. Role _ name. Okay, so levels or volume, -3 dB. Compression, light compression. Don't overcompress it. Don't undercompress it? That's not really a thing. Basically, it's like, don't overcompress it. No pauses, no silence in the thing. Basically, don't waste the person's time in the audition. And then make sure that your name and the role is on the file. Because when the person goes and downloads your MP3 or WAV file or whatever, they directly download it and they put it in their folder for later so they can review them. they want to be able to find your name and find out who you are and what you're auditioning for, just in case there's a lot of auditions. That's what I do, and that's what I've been told that a lot of other people do. Maybe not everyone does that, but just to be sure, just to be safe. The next thing would be, don't do any editing or effects to the audition. Unless the person is looking for that, which is very rare, don't do any effects. Don't do any echo, don't do any reverb, don't do any mechanical noise, because they need to hear your performance, and if they want to, they can literally just take your audition, take it in there, and then just add the effects to see if you fit. If you add the effects and you're doing it wrong, or you don't have the sound or the effects that they had in mind, they can't do anything with your file now. They can't do anything with it. And they can't tell what you sound like without it. So don't do any effects. No strange delay, no echo, no choir sound, no reverb, no strong pitch change, none of that. Just leave all that out. Leave all that out. Just clean audio. There you go. And the final thing, and this is really the most important, and I'm saving this for last because this is probably the biggest thing out there. The biggest problem that I have, and I think a lot of people have this problem when they're doing auditions and they get a lot of amateurs or less experienced voice actors audition, is the sound quality is just not that good. The sound quality is just not usable. And now here's the thing. Here's why this is a big deal. When you're trying to put together an animation, you're trying to put together a cartoon or a video game, you don't want it to be obvious that these people recorded using different mics and in different studios and use different effects. You don't want that to be obvious. You don't want to break the viewer or the listener to the project. You don't want to break their concentration or take them out of the experience. You want them to stay engaged. So the quality of the recording, not just the quality of the mic, it's not about the price of the mic. It really isn't. I've reviewed tons of microphones on here that are less than $100. I mean, the MXL 67G or something like that, it's like $50 now. And it's not bad. I've compared it to the Audio-Technica 2020, which is a $100 microphone, and I've compared it to all other kinds of stuff. I've reviewed tons of microphones that are inexpensive and decent. Even USB mics. I've reviewed USB mics, and those are actually getting to a point where they're really good. It's not as much of a shameful thing to have anymore, to have a USB mic. I see people using USB mics that, it doesn't bother me. It just depends on the quality of the recording, the quality of the space that you're in, how far away from the mic you are, and your performance. That's what I mean by quality. If you're this close to the mic and you're doing your entire performance this close to the mic, everyone can tell. I don't know if you know that, but everyone can tell that you are really close to the mic. There's lots of noises in the mouth and lots of noises in your breaths that can really only be picked up clearly when you're really close to the mic and you have to get quieter and your performance drops because you're trying not to yell, because you're trying not to overblow the microphone and you're trying not to do all this kind of stuff. So get further away from the mic. Back up. I'm using a shotgun mic, so I can do about that much away from the microphone. Technically, it's pointed at my chest, so it's more like that far away from the tip of the microphone. And this is a comfortable distance for me. I can move around a little bit. I can turn off axis just slightly, and there's not that much of a change. I can yell, I can raise my arms. If I get too loud, I'll just bend back, I'll just lean back. If I get too quiet, I can just lean in a little bit, but not too close. It has to sound like these microphones, like these performances, like the quality can blend well together. You don't want to have someone who has a really good, clean, crisp, professional sound mixed in with someone who's clearly using a headset or clearly too close and they're popping their Ps. I have used Audacity and the EQing. I have put together a EQ for getting rid of plosives, but I can't fix all of them. I can't fix all the plosives, just slight pops, just slight puffs. I can EQ that out towards either not as noticeable or it's gone completely. I can do that. But if that's all that's going into the mic, because you're too close, because you're in a small space, or you don't want to hear the echo, so you're getting really quiet and really close to the mic, spend a little bit more time and a little bit more energy, maybe a little bit more money, putting up some blankets, treating the area, maybe finding a quieter place in your house to record. Maybe the room you're recording in is the worst one. Maybe there's a better one. Maybe there's a downstairs closet. Maybe there's a particular corner of your room that would be better to record in. Whatever, just make sure there's no echo and there's no reverb and there's no background noise like a fan noise, none of that kind of stuff. So the quality is very, very important. Technically, this one should have been multiple things, but I wanted to narrow it down to quality, just overall quality. Really listen to your file, really listen to your audition. If there's lots of hiss, if there's lots of noise, if there's noise in the background, if there's echo, if there's too much plosive going into the microphone, figure out what to do. Figure out what's going on, figure out where it's coming from, and adjust accordingly. I do tons of videos on here for free. Free? That you can watch and put together some kind of decent recording space. I have multiple videos where I've put up recording studios in my brother's house, in hotel rooms, in my car. I have tons of videos like that. You can basically put up a good recording studio anywhere. You just have to be aware of your environment, the microphone placement, all that kind of stuff. So quality is very important. It's not the most important. Some people will tell you otherwise. On Casting Call Club, it's probably not the most important. There are some auditions that I'm like, the person's really, really good. Probably if I gave them a little bit of coaching through Skype, we could work out something. I could get them to maybe move to a different room or get a little further away from the microphone. I can work with that. If there's a little bit of hiss because they're using a cheaper USB mic or a cheaper interface, I can work with that. I can deal with that. But there's only so much that I can do. And the same thing is going to go with anyone else who's doing casting. So there you go. This is kind of all over the place, but I hope it helps. I hope it helps. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. If you'd like to email me personally, the email is down in the description, as well as all the other information as far as getting in touch with me or contacting me. Go make sure you check those out. If you'd like personal coaching through the Patreon, or you'd like to see the long form videos, or like to get a lot of behind the scenes or secret videos that no one else gets to see, you can go to the Patreon. You don't have to, but it's there. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs down. That's totally fine. You've probably already done that anyway, because you people don't watch whole videos. You just immediately thumbs down, walk away. If you're new to this channel, subscribe, and until next time, peace.